Hello, beautiful people. Hey, look, before I start this session, I have a big announcement to make. And, the documentary that's been in the works for a long time about my son Eric's life, it's almost finished. But in order to get to that finish line, the director producer Paula Marino needs some help. So she needs funds to cover all the professional fees that will be involved to bring the story to the screen, like a professional story editor, a music composer, a sound mixer, an illustrator, animator, etc., etc. Now, Paula created a crowdfunding page where you can donate whatever you feel comfortable donating. You can also donate by purchasing a 30-minute session with one of our mediums, or by purchasing an item from the Erik merchandise store, like the one I'm wearing. Saving the world one prank at a time. It's an embroidered image, so it's really nice. So anyway, go visit channelingericdoc.com and take a look at it. This project is very near and dear to my heart. And one of my greatest wishes is to get the story out to more people so we can help more people. And I want you to go and see the trailer that's on the channelingericdoc.com. It's so moving. It's so powerful. It was my first reaction. It was a gut punch, um, but it says it all. So look at the trailer and let me know what you think. Thank you, guys. Hello, beautiful people. Guess who I have here? We already know a little bit about her. Catherine, also known as Katie Jameson. And we have such an amazing topic to talk about, all about dimensionality and light language, etc. But first, Katie, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself to those who have not seen our
Yeah.
other session?
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie. I run a YouTube channel called Encoded Frequencies with Katie. I am a multidimensional energy channel, meaning that I channel different beings, angels, galactics, Christed consciousness, different frequencies, and I also compose music. So I'm a sound healer and teacher. And what I do is weave different sound frequencies, light codes, and energies to help you kind of release restriction out of your quantum field and kind of just empower people to become and allow themselves to be as powerful as they organically
Yeah.
are.
Oh,
Yeah, like your God
I
soul
mean,
self.
you can't get more powerful than that. I've been reading this book called We the Arcturians, and they're talking
You read
about.
it. I told you that one last week,
Oh,
last
that's why I
time.
read it then. Yeah, and they talked
Yes.
about how they don't have any disease because it's all about vibration, man. It's all, and they use sound and all sorts of other stuff. It's quite the fascinating read, and I
Ever
thank you
since
for that
reading
rec.
that book, I started making transmissions for myself and for others, working with galactic technology to use the frequencies and the chambers. You project your consciousness up, and you can lay with the Arcturians, and they will help you heal your energy body for free.
Oh, that's awesome. All
So
right, so
yeah, it's
I
pretty
I
powerful.
know I have the Arcturians gave me codes back in the day when I was in Atlantis that are encoded with their power. Like this is Om Manterash. Beautiful names, actually. Uh, Arcturian, Govetanesh. I love them.
Oh,
Anyway,
you remember them. Nice.
man, I say them all the time in the scalar field. Anyway, so we are going to tell us what we're going to talk about. We're going to first talk about what is multidimensional energy.
Yeah. I see multidimensional energy and the way that I see people's energy fields as within your frequency, you have your physical body, and then you have your energetic field, your auric field, your biofield, informing the makeup of your body. So inside your energy field, you have everything is electromagnetic, right? So when I started learning sound therapy, I started working with tuning forks, and you can hear within your multidimensional field any trauma patterns that have happened to you in this life. So the multidimensional field I see is like the recording or the encodings of this human life that you've had, but then also you have your quantum field and your multidimensional field, and that some people call it the Akashic records field. Everyone is walking around with their soul signature frequency, and when you learn to read energy, multidimensional energy, in someone's energy field is contained all of the incarnations, past life, even though everything's happening right now,
Right.
experiences in your field. So when you start to look at quantum energy, you start to realize, wow, this life I had as a knight when I was stabbed in the back and I didn't stand up for my honor, when you didn't integrate that lesson or release that charge, that's still held within our signature frequency.
Mhm.
And then you have your oversoul and you have other aspects of yourself. So I guess multidimensional energy is the understanding that we are infinite God source beings and we've lived again and again and again in so many different dimensions, and we have access to experience all of those dimensions when we learn to shift our frequency.
Yeah, it's so amazing that a bit sad that so many of us, and I've been through this before, can't find a way to love ourselves. If they only
Oh yeah.
knew the vastness of their multidimensionality, their divinity, etc., it would be another story. So,
But that's the game, right? Isn't it?
yeah,
Like when you think about what love is and isn't, you think about lack consciousness and doubt consciousness and fear to be bright, rejection consciousness, persecution wounding. Like I see these energies that we carry as templates that we can start to break down and look at and see if they suit our inner reflections anymore. And then if you can think about it as a game, you can become more curious and be more playful with healing instead of I don't love myself. It's like, why don't I love myself? What happened to me? Who did I believe over believing myself? You know what I mean?
yes,
And then you can backtrack with an empowered thought rather than it's making the unconscious conscious, right?
yeah, exactly. It's like having that 30,000 foot perspective of your life, the human
that's
experience, you know?
that's how tall I see people's oversouls.
Wow.
Like it's really tall, obviously not 30,000 feet. And then I think it's also the on the flip side of learning to love yourself is coming to accept that you are like a whole and a part of God. And that is almost unbelievable for people as well. So it's like I truly think that people are resisting their shadow, but they're also resisting their power too. So it's a funny paradox of we want to be powerful. And then when we actually get a glimpse of who we are, we're like, oh, that can't be me. It's too bright. It's too pure. It's
No.
too
Oh my
this.
God. Now, how did this all start? Do you think, I mean, I've been learning a lot about the Anunnaki of Nibiru who have enslaved humans. I mean, the Enlil, not the good inky one, and with electromagnetic traps and all the stripped us
Yeah.
of our light codes and our DNA and all sorts of stuff that
Yeah.
but that's
When we
not
fell
part
from
of it.
consciousness, when we fell from higher dimensional ascended beings, we just entered another cycle. I heard in a session that I ran the other day that we're ending a 13,000 year cycle of disempowerment now. So it's like
Wow.
we're clearing out all of the lifetimes. And I run a light workers activation course, and so much of the information that's coming through is like I'm clearing a shunt in the spine where this being trapped out power. I'm clearing a block on the third eye where someone said, if you use your power, I will find you and I will kill you. Like we have these embedded impressions in our quantum field from experiences that weren't necessarily like Orion Wars, people
Yes.
being cloned in the super secret space program. Like there's so much crap. So if you're walking around on the planet thinking, why do I feel so messed up? There's more reasons than just your humanness, your childhood, you know? And I think that that's why you came to Earth at this time, is
Mm.
to be able to. They always show me like a toothpaste. It's the final squeeze of the end of the bits, right?
Oh,
Before we
wow.
can kind of move out of this cycle of oppression and repression, but you can't skip anything. So you have to feel and look and acknowledge at the parts of you that were in denial and suppression of yourself. Because at the end of the day, we chose all of our experiences.
Yeah, of
So it's a
course.
much more empowered state to be in recognizing, oh, okay, if I chose this, why did I choose this? You know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're moving into from I can't remember what the Leo or Taurus, whatever, to the age of Aquarius. So we go from which one do we move from? Are we moving from Leo, age of Leo, or Taurus? I can't remember.
This is the dawning of the age
Yeah.
of
So
Aquarius. I don't
anyway, we
know what
come
we've
from
been in.
the oppression, the man, domination, uh, things of that nature
Into
to
technology, into unity consciousness,
and to unity
into figuring out,
consciousness. We're
yeah,
not surviving by competing or like survival of the fittest, but by collaborating and
and with and more advanced technology and more galactic consciousness awareness, because these technologies that we have here didn't just like pop into someone's mind from nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are star seeds on the planet all the time. Like look at Elon Musk, look at all of these
Oh
great
yeah.
inventors and creators. We've been programmed and seed to bring these things to earth to for this awakening, so we can get out of this. Not that we need to get out of anything, but we can ascend and come into
Ascend,
more of a,
evolve. Yeah.
yeah. I think people are pretty done with what we've been doing on earth. I think
I
people are
know.
ready.
Eric says that we are here to not only learn how to love, but also to learn that we are love, which is
Yeah,
pretty much all there is.
inherently.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. So can you talk to me about, I've been listening a lot to your light language. It's so musical, it's so beautiful. It's just very
Thank you.
um empowering. It's profound. So you want to talk a little bit about light language? What is it?
Yeah, I think light language is quite hard to describe. There are different codes and frequencies that are aspects of universal consciousness, right? So you can have light language that you maybe draw, so you can see visual codes, and you might find there's groups on Facebook where you can see like the codes and light language, and you might look at something and the energetic energy encoded into the scripture kind of washes through your energetic field. You have spoken light language, which is what I do, which is essentially just channeling pure, unfiltered, universal life force energy. So there's different people think that there's different dialects of light language. I think that you can tune into any planet, any collective, the Arcturian, the Sirian, the angels, the Fae. There's going to be a certain type of signature frequency that comes through. And I
Yeah.
think the great thing about light language, one, it bypasses the conscious mind. So when you listen, when you first listen, your conscious mind is probably going to be like, "Are you on drugs? What are you talking about? This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard." And then I think once you start to let that go, you can really tune into the energetic impression. And what I think it does is moves through your quantum field and decrystallizes embedded trauma patterns of
Yeah.
limiting beliefs. I did the ancestral series. It can move into the energetic centers and these spaces that you don't have to consciously move the energy yourself. It works with you and for you because you have your own blueprint of
Yeah.
well-being, of health, right? So it's one, it has the ability to clear and decrystallize trauma patterns, and two, it creates resonance within the frequency, almost like a, if you know about entrainment, it entrains the subtle energy of your body to a higher state of being more harmonized with who you are. And then there's also like making music. You can sing, and codes and energy can come through toning. It's just universal life force energy being expressed in an unfiltered way.
Well, I think sound is a form of mathematics, and I think mathematics is the language of the universe, sacred geometry, and all that stuff.
Physics.
So it's almost like sacred geometry via sound, maybe. I don't know.
They
Anyway.
showed me one time, and someone asked me what light language was in a session and what her light codes did. And what they showed me was they said if you mapped out all of the keys of a piano and then you put them up the octave, up the octave, up the octave, light language through the many, and every octave was like a dimension of reality. It showed me all of these, like music is ratios, right? 3/2, 4/5, like all
Yeah.
of these intervals and chords are creating, mathematical algorithms. And what they showed me is when you speak light language through different frequencies and tones, and if you listen to my work, you might be like, whoa, she keeps saying words and then she'll hit a really high note. What they're doing is shattering the resonant frequency of different parts, and it reverberates on all of the different octaves of your being. So it's like, instead of when we just use human language, which can be very limited in some capacity, light language has the ability to oscillate and resonate all of these different harmonics of our quantum mathematical energetic field. Everything is held together by maths. Everything is physics. Sound is physics, so
Yeah,
everything's vibration.
exactly.
So it just makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
And also it seems very confusing at the same time. Like I could understand how it doesn't make sense as well.
no, I mean,
Depends where you
I
come at
think
it from.
physics is the foundation. Math is the foundation of physics. So um, I think it's just so cool. All right, let's see. So can you talk about how sound plays a part in healing? I mean,
Yeah.
I heard this, that there's this person that put a whole bunch of kids with cancer in a room and had some sort of sound that couldn't, wasn't,
Low frequency sound.
yeah, low frequency. I don't know. And the cancer got better. or cured even, some of them.
Totally. Sound affects every single level of our human functioning. So, sound is not only just something that you hear, sound is a physical wave, and sound has the ability to carry energetic properties. So, on a low frequency level, what I do with vibroacoustic therapy, sound has the ability to start to move directly into the physical body. So when you hit the resonant frequency of a certain cell, it starts to release its stored energy and increase its metabolism, as well as fine tuning and refining the vibratory structures and sacred geometric patterns of the vibration of our cells. So it affects our physical body by stabilizing our nervous system. Physics, a stronger vibration will always entrain a weaker one. So if you think about anxiety as being a weak vibration, you're feeling shaky, you're feeling out of control. If you
Yeah.
were to, this is why they have sound baths, if you were to bathe in sound, the stability of the physical sound waves and the energetic currents within the sound are one affecting the physical body, so the nervous system can entrain to that wavelength and that sound wave. But it also affects your brain, so it shifts the different, we're always in different brainwave states. So through entrainment you can listen to different binaural beats. You don't even need to listen to binaural beats. Like, all kind of sound healing music is going to shift your brain into different states of consciousness. And I also think, like, sound is a transportation tool, so it has the ability to take you into different states of reality where when you meet with aspects of your higher self or God source or your angels or your team, you don't really recognize that's what you're doing. But when you come back, it's almost like, I feel like 100 kilos is being lifted off me, right? So you have these like quite transformational effects without kind of having to do very much. All you have to do is like listen with an intention. So
Yeah.
sound just has encoded when it's consciously composed. Like, there's obviously sound warfare. There's certain frequencies that
What?
disrupt
What's
the
that?
bowels. Oh, they use sound, super, super low frequency sound. They did it at the Parliament in Australia. They blasted low frequency sound and people were having to go to the bathroom because their guts. They do it in
Hmm.
war. So they drive around with tanks and they blast really like inaudible high or low frequency sound, and that starts to create an effect on the body. Because if you think about, like, you're in a pressure cooker of all these longitudinal
Yeah.
sound waves, it's disrupting the harmonics of your body. But then on the positive side, you can lay in a sea of sound and shift your cells, your nervous system, your body. And then it also affects your energy field, right? So it's the same thing as light language. All of the
Yeah.
minute frequencies in your energy field are being retuned energetically and physically through sound. It's even with sounds that you can't hear. Like, we don't really hear everything that's going on. We don't really see everything that's
Yeah.
going on. So it's like, it's the most powerful thing, and it's also just a really beautiful way to remember who you are. Because I think in sound, people instantly recognize the emotion and the feeling that music brings to us. So I think it's also just very nurturing and
Yeah.
very calming and grounding. Yeah.
It's like lullabies. Why do we sing
Yeah, and
lullabies to our baby?
different types of music people need for different times, so it can be activating and energizing.
Yeah.
It
So
shifts your mood so fast.
yeah, I might need a certain energy at one point in my life or at a whatever that would not resonate or do well with somebody else's energy. Is that right? I mean,
100%. There are activating frequencies that people are like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And then someone will be like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. So I think everyone is so different. And on any given day, the one track that you thought you liked might not work for you at that time. So I think then you break down what is sound and you start to look at the specific frequencies, the tones and the timbres, the intervals, the way that the music is flowing and stretching, and then the energy behind it. It's a very complex
mm,
phenomenon,
yeah.
really.
So sound warfare, is that what the Havana syndrome was about?
Of what? Havana syndrome.
Yeah,
I
Havana,
haven't heard
where
of this.
it happened in Havana, where all of these politicians, or I can't remember, diplomats got super sick, headaches, and they couldn't understand what happened, and they felt it was some sort of concussive thing from sound, Havana syndrome. Let me see if I'll look it up.
It's also like, while you're looking it up, it's also used in shopping centers. So people play
Ooh,
specific music that has like a BPM of like 160 or 180, because the studies show when music is more repetitive and fast paced tempo, and there are certain frequencies like kind of techno music, it induces a sense of anxiety and a stress response within the body. So people shop faster, they buy things more readily,
oh
they are
wow,
disorganized in their thoughts, and then they also just want to get out of the shop. So
oh wow,
it's there's an art to manipulating psychology with sound. People have used that forever. Like, look at subliminal messaging within music.
Yeah.
People have been finding out like certain music, if you play it backwards, has these messages.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of conspiracy.
That
Like,
Paul
not
is dead on the
everything.
Beatles record or something like that. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
So Havana syndrome. Havana syndrome is a disputed medical condition reported primarily by the U.S. diplomatic intelligence and military officers stationed in overseas locations. Most of the affected individuals reported acute onset of symptoms associated with a perceived localized loud sound, followed by chronic symptoms that lasted for months, such as balance and cognitive problems, insomnia, headache, etc. So,
I
yeah,
wonder if it was super high frequency, like an
I don't
inaudible
know.
range, or if it was. I feel like it would have been low frequency, and things that I think also the psychological effect. If you don't know what's happened to you, you question yourself. So you're like, "Am I making this up?" You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you can affect people physiologically, but you can affect people psychologically, for
Yeah.
positive or for worse. You know,
Oh, yeah, of
it's
course.
just everything is sound, and it's just the intention behind you using it. But look at the indoctrination that we have. Like, even when people watch TV and the ads, like,
Yeah.
everything is, we're being indoctrinated all of the time through
Mhm.
media and TV with sound. So you have to be conscious of what you're ingesting and what the energy is of the artist that's making the music, because they did a study and they took a reading of everyone. They had an orchestra and they were all playing music, and I think it was a kinesiology muscle test to see if it read weak or strong vibration. But they did a recording of one piece of music when a lot of people in the orchestra had the flu, and then they did a
Oh,
recording of when everyone was very healthy, and then they played the two, and then the one that was sick created a weaker
oh,
response to
wow.
the energy of the music. So it's like, I never make music if I don't feel 100%, because I know that that's going to be embedded
Yeah.
somehow into the music. So it's like, yeah, listening to consciously composed music is very powerful.
Yeah. So what about lyrics? The vocals, does that add to things or does it really not? It's
Yeah.
only the actual sound itself. And
I
the
guess like the
meaning
power
behind
of
the
spoken
lyrics
word.
too. Hmm?
Yeah, like the physical word will create a vibration. Just as light language creates different signature patterns within your frequency, the word hate. You know all those studies that they did on water
Yeah,
and
the
the city
emotive
water?
studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like every single word has a vibration and a pattern and a structure and a meaning behind it. So it's like the power of words is like the word creates the reality, right? The words
Mhm.
that you say and think form the structure. If you break down the hologram of reality, the simulation, maybe if you want to, you will see everything. I was in a meditation one time and went super deep, and everything started dissolving, and I started to see the matrix as zeros and ones as lines
Wow.
coming down through the thing, and I got so freaked out, and I realized that I was perceiving the simulation behind reality, and that everything is numbers. So words are generating a number or a vibration. So it's like there's so much stuff that we don't realize, and we also don't need to realize. I think that if you
Yeah.
go in too deep of like, this is a simulation,
No,
then you
you have to
deduce.
live life
Yeah,
too. But yeah,
and enjoy it.
I get that. Like words, I mean, people could take their name and all, you add up that each one has a number assigned to
Yeah.
it. And yeah. And you can find out your life purpose, life path, et cetera, et cetera. So numerology, letters, they all have very specific energy attached to them, right?
I don't think we realize that. And if you think about every thought that you think, a big thing that I see with clients is unconscious, repetitive cycles of thought. So
Yeah.
when I look into people's unconscious energy, it's like these looping thought patterns that we don't realize that we're saying, because we're in our conscious mind, we're not in our unconscious, subconscious.
Yeah.
And how they say like 90% of what you think every day is the same thoughts again and
Really?
again. And no wonder if your life is stagnating and you're not feeling like you're being able to move to where you are, maybe you might want to go and spend time. And in meditation, even when people say, I can't stop my thoughts in meditation, that's fine. Why don't you look at your thoughts and wonder about them, and inquire as to
Yeah.
what they are? You don't need to stop them, but it's like, well, maybe I can start to delete, clear, cancel the belief and the contracts that are ensuing that I picked up probably from somewhere else, someone
Yeah.
else. It's not organic to us to hate ourselves.
Oh God, no, no. All right, let's see. So tell us about your own journey to discovering your abilities. Not only to
For
code
light
down, but
language
also light
and
language,
sound.
mostly light language. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I had a pretty extreme awakening. I had an experience where I was traveling in Colombia, and one night I was on the lake, and I looked up and I was reading a book, and I guess kind of like a portal of light opened, and a bunch of light codes started flying into my third eye for about 5 minutes. And I laid there and I watched it happen, and I was like, am I hallucinating? Like, this is so weird and crazy. And then the next day I got super, super, super sick, and my body started breaking down. And what I realize now is like I just downloaded a whole bunch of information about my galactic and cosmic energy.
Mhm.
Obviously, now I understand because of what I do to help other people awaken. But yeah, it was kind of a rough road to recovery. They said that I had dengue fever, but it was like my muscles were breaking down, my
Oh,
body was breaking down.
my
I
God.
had to, there was a period of about 3 weeks where I didn't know what things were. So my memory deleted, and I was looking at a tree and I couldn't remember what the word for tree was. And it was wiping me clean and clean. So it was a very painful process to be on this path. And it
Well,
took
was
about
it
five
necessary?
years.
Why would the divine
Uh,
allow
I
that to
think
happen?
I think because of how much trauma I had experienced, and because I was being very naughty, Elisa. I was doing drugs,
Oh,
I was partying, I was like traveling around the world. I wasn't on my path. So I think a part of it was like, girl, wake up.
sledgehammer,
You've like
boom.
time. Yeah, yeah. And I probably planned it that way because I'm a bit extreme and I like extreme things. So I probably
Oh,
wrote that of like,
cool.
24, let's go. So, and then from there, I started to have to figure out how to heal myself. So I did Reiki, and I was like, this is kind of cool, but I think I can do more. I started to learn quantum and multidimensional energy. I started then having like very galactic experiences. Like one night in a dream, I woke up on a ship and they were operating on me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. But then I had more and more experiences. And then I just basically started seeing clients every day, reading people's fields, clearing out very dark, like, I just work very galactically with people.
Yeah.
And then I was meditating one day, and all of a sudden, I started to connect into a blue avian being. It was just like a little bird being, and it was like blah, 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 blah. And then I was in such a deep, deep state of meditation
Mm.
that I just burst into tears because it felt like home. It felt like my best friend. And then I just started
Mm.
like kind of spontaneously speaking light language, and all of these codes and energies were coming out of me. And I was like, but it was such a beautiful feeling because it just felt like a part of me was returning back into myself. So it wasn't fear, it wasn't ego, it wasn't me trying to like, I didn't really try. It kind of just came online. It
Yeah.
wasn't something that I expected that I was going to do because it does sound, it sounds a bit odd, but it sounds beautiful too.
Not
And
to
then I just
me.
developed it and refined it, you know? So then
Yeah.
I didn't really share it with people, but then I realized if I was running energy on someone, I could do that for 40 minutes and I could clear, clear, clear. But I realized when I started utilizing light codes and language, the energy would move so much faster.
Oh,
So I'd be like,
wow.
well, this is just time saving. So I just started using light language and hand movements, and now I just see people all around the world and teach them how to unlock their own. It doesn't have to be light language. It can be psychic gifts or energy healing gifts or
Yeah.
galactic consciousness or remembrance. And it's super rewarding because people are getting benefit from it. And that's all that I care about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This
that's
is
kind of how
my
I got to be where I am.
my second eldest, my daughter Michelle. She has a lot of galactic history. She dreams all the time of being
I
a
think you
captain of the
all do.
ship and all this stuff. And she does light language.
Yeah.
And I told her, why don't you, help encode these crystals with your light language, put it in there. Is that possible?
Yeah, you can embed anything into anything. Like if you listen to my frequencies when I make music, I record pockets of energy with my microphone and just
Yeah.
I embed sacred geometric structures,
Oh,
color
wow.
frequencies, laying energy upon energy. Anything, this is a mental construct universe. Anything that you can visualize or create is a electromagnetic, like an electrical thought wave.
Yeah.
Emotions are magnetic, thoughts are electrical. You can
Mm.
embed into a recording, which is copying like space and time into an MP3 file, and then you can layer and layer and layer. So when I make music, I take an energy recording, I take a sound wave, I tone, I make piano, and then I layer them all on top. So it's one just vibrating sphere of information and light, which is information. And when
Yeah.
you use it, you ingest it. So it's like a medicine, right? But an audio medicine.
Well, it's amazing. But she's a little embarrassed to do it. She don't want, she's a
And
badass
that's fair.
emergency room nurse, She's
There's
she,
pockets of
she's my naughty one too. She has a tattoo of a dopamine molecule on her arm. It's pretty cool.
And also, everyone has different callings. Like, I am definitely here to help people wake up. Some people are here
Yeah.
to be nurses. Some people are here to be uh, hairdressers. It doesn't matter. You can use your gifts
Oh, that could
whenever
be
you
healing
want.
too.
I
If I was
love going to
almost
the
completely
hairdresser.
broke, one of the last things I would give up is my hair person. So anyway,
It's like
that is
counseling
important to me
sometimes.
anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
she uses a lot of healing, clandestine healing for her patients too in the ER. So
And she
that's
probably
good.
just has a healing aura. You don't have to necessarily, like, I think a lot of my clients or people are like, how do I use my gifts for others? I think just being yourself is a very powerful frequency
Very
because when you're
much so.
emitting that, you're making a safe space for people to trust you, for people to be seen and heard and witnessed. A lot of the trauma of this planet is people as their childhood trauma of not being validated, not
Yeah.
being received, not being engaged with for the truth of who they are. And it doesn't take much to recognize the light within someone and then them be rewarded and validated for that.
Yeah.
And then
So
growing because they feel seen.
absolutely. People need to be acknowledged and seen.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, can anyone learn to do light language and can anyone learn to work with energy, which is opposed to the
I think
one
I
aspect of light
really
language?
truly believe that anyone can literally do anything that they want. If you have a desire, it is obviously much easier. I think everything is a formulation of the constructs that your mind has created. So if you have beliefs that energy doesn't exist and light language doesn't exist, it's going to be very hard for you to
Oh
channel
yeah. Oh
energy and light
yeah.
language. But I think if you are open and receptive to the stream of information and energy that literally exists every molecule and particle of our reality,
Mhm.
yes. And I think that it takes intention and desire. It also takes breaking down a lot of stereotypes or
Oh
rejection,
yeah. Yeah.
or we've been shamed. A lot of my clients, when they're 8 or 9, their mom told them, "You don't see fairies. You don't talk to beings.
You were not
you don't have an invisible
you didn't have
friend."
another life before, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of indoctrination on this planet for
Yeah.
safety. So there's a lot of people that are resistant to it because they fear if they don't get love from their parents, they're not going to have their basic needs met. So there's
I
a lot of people in
know.
survival
It's
mode. Yeah.
survival. You're right. I never thought about that. I remember when my fourth kid, Lucas, he had pneumonia and he had a high fever, and I was holding him, about to put him in a tepid water bath, and he started just like talking about when he used to be a little girl in Jamaica. I didn't even think he even knew where Jamaica was. He didn't. He was like 4 years old, I think. And he started talking about how he was twirling around in his new dress. His parents were like, you know, rum or whatever. I can't remember. And Papa was my mom, and Maria, our housekeeper, was my dad. And then I was twirling and twirling on this cliff or waterfall, and he fell. And then all of a sudden, he was in the water. He saw bubbles going up, and then he was in a nice, warm, dark womb, actually. So it's like, oh my God! And
He
we
was
did
4 years
not,
old.
yeah, we did not. I mean, because we didn't know anything about this. So I bought this
Yeah.
book called Children's Past Lives by Carol Bowman. It's amazing. And so
Yeah.
I had no idea anything about reincarnation, but that really got me hooked.
It's
So
it's pretty profound when you can't deny it when it literally happens to you. And you also realize like the children up until 7 or 8 are in a different state of consciousness. They are in a more theta
really,
brainwave state. So they are
yeah,
having more close energetic experiences with different realms, with different
yeah,
frequencies. So it's very easy to shut that down. And I think to answer, can anyone do it? Yeah, but it does take dedication and it does take
yeah.
an ability to look at your shadow. And it does take almost like you didn't just become a doctor by saying, "I would like to be a doctor now." No, you had to work and you had to learn and you had
Oh
to
yeah,
study and you had to
of
practice.
course.
So I think with your gifts, it's the exact same thing. I think a lot of people, one, are fearing that they're going to just immediately. I think people are scared to see stuff, you know? I think people are scared to see entities or dragons or
Yeah,
ghosts or this or aliens. But I think you're not going to just magically open your third eye and then you're going to see all these realms. That's not going to happen. It's going to be
yeah,
an incremental shift. So I think you have to kind of put in the dedication and the work and the intention and find a good teacher and find someone that can help you through because there's a lot of empowering people to teach you and then there's a lot of disempowering information, and I think you have to have discernment about where you're getting your spiritual information from
mm,
because I think there's a lot of old consciousness constructs that maybe prolong your ability to ascend faster, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
So do you
So
teach
it's yeah.
people how to do light language or how to open up
Yeah,
their
I teach.
frequency?
Yeah. I don't really teach light language. I more support people to channel multidimensional energy, clear
Okay.
their blocks,
Yeah.
understand what their blocks are, clear the energy patterns between other people. And then I think light language comes on as a subsequent frequency shift. So it's like when
Mm.
your throat is being released of persecution and wounding, and when you get comfortable, it's just about you being comfortable to be more of
Mm.
yourself, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I teach that. That's mainly what I teach. Yeah,
That's so cool. So
I
what
love it.
star seed, what constellation are you most comfortable and rooted in?
I actually had a session with Courtney and I was like, where am I really from? And then she's like, you're a galactic star traveler. You go here and you go here and
Oh,
you came here and you went to Andromeda and I spent a lot of
that
time with
makes sense.
Arcturian energy.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because I feel like any person that I've ever met, I feel like I can connect with and I
There we go.
understand on a level. So it makes sense when I think about who I am as a human. But yeah, I don't feel like, and it also makes sense. I traveled the world for like 5 or 6 years. So I am just a
Oh, that
bit of
makes sense. You are a traveler.
a traveler because I think that
Yeah.
there's so many different wisdoms that you can take from like Syrian energy has a very different gift and frequency and ability to Andromedan to learn. They all have very different archetypal constructs. So I think I think a lot of people are like, where am I from? And it's like, zoom out a bit further. Where have you spent
Yeah.
time? I've been a fairy, I've been an elf, I've been all of these things. And there's so much more complexity to what you are
Oh,
than
of
just,
course.
I am Pleiadian.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Huh. I know my well, Michelle, I think she's a Syrian because she has the freckles in the pattern of Sirius. Or maybe it's
Oh, they say,
that's
and they also
cool.
say that there's certain mole placements for people that
Yeah.
have had, yeah,
I
I have
mean,
had
it
things
doesn't
like
have to
that.
be the only place they're from, but
Defining feature.
so
Yeah,
what
no.
percentage do you think of people, maybe listening right now or whatever, are mostly from galactic or origins?
Or everyone. Like there is no
Right.
such like humans are a hybrid of different galactic
Yeah.
energies.
Like, yeah.
There isn't anyone that doesn't have some type. I believe that there are people that have there is the hybridization program. So
Yeah.
there are yeah, and that, I was a
Great
part of that, and that's a big
experiment.
part of my awakening. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I offered parts of my consciousness to. I had a reading with someone, and they said that they tried to clone a part of my soul light to work for the dark, but I retained too much of the light and they had to
Oh,
abort the mission because I like wasn't
abort, abort,
destroying
abort.
things.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
she's too light. Like we can't control her. I thought that was funny. But
That
yeah,
is awesome.
like human as a species is a combination of different subsets of different uh, like Earth is like a huge DNA library of all these
Yeah.
different beings. We've got avian beings, we've got lion beings, we've got Lyran beings, as above, so below. So
Yeah.
I think that we all have different um, vibrational constructs of our DNA. Like I see people's templates of their DNA. Some people have very angelic coding within their frequency. So you
Mhm.
can perceive that as they're very amenable, they're very light, people trust them. There are personality traits that
Yeah.
show where they are. I also think that I don't think that everyone is necessarily a light worker. I don't think that everyone came here with a mission from God to like heal, but I think most people listening to your channel would be, and I think there's a lot
Probably.
more galactically aligned beings at this 2020, like at this period of human
Yeah.
consciousness, because we're trying to move things along,
I
people.
know.
So I
Hurry.
think
Time's a ticking. No, it's
time's
like
ticking.
I lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, okay. What does ascension? Oh, wait. All right. So the light language, can people just like start trying to vocalize things and they find their
I would
way, or
say
just
the
okay?
best thing that you could do if you wanted to understand how to connect your gifts is one, get into a very, very calm, deep state of meditation.
Mm-mm.
Do it now with me, people. Close your eyes and just imagine that you can drop all of your thoughts, taking in a slow, long, deep breath. Pull your energy, your thoughts down into the center point of your body. Breathe out, drop everything away, and just recognize for a moment, move your fingers and your toes and recognize that you have a physical body. And then recognize that you have a mind which is emitting vibrations and electrical thoughts. So tuning into the energy around your brain, tuning in and finding the very center point of your torso and just visualizing your heart. And then I just say, invoke a light, a flame, a candle in the very middle. Imagine you can open your eyes on the inside of your body and then start to tune in and intend to connect with the eternal aspect of yourself, tuning into your soul's light. It might feel quite far away, it might be right there like that. And then just start to very gently through your breath breathe that light and increase that photonic vibrational energy of your soul, and feel it start to rise, feel it start to stretch out your spine, feel your shoulders rise back. And then I start to imagine your auric field, so tuning into the layers of energy between your physical body and where you might perceive your auric field is. Sensing, is it a meter from your body? Is it half a meter? Expanding your soul's light out. And then I just always intend to open up your crown and just tune into a golden stream, a channel, a portal, a beam of light projecting out of your energetic sphere, out of your auric field, out of your room, coming up, 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 out of your country, coming up, projecting out. You might feel a pressure on your head, tuning out of the atmosphere of Earth, and then coming through the gateway of the sun and finding the great central sun. So finding a pocket of beautiful, brilliant, multicolored light, which is God source energy, the great central sun, and then just tuning into asking to receive more of yourself, more codes, more energy, more information, and then just breathing that light down, seeing if it's violet, if it's gold, if it's green, if it feels warm, and then spiraling that energy down, down, down through the many layers, levels, dimensions, in through the crown, and just imagine that light reverberating and organically moving through your third eye, drawing a line from your left ear to your right, from the front of your head to the back of your head, and where those two lines meet, just start to see some light swirling in that space. And you might like to tune in, does it feel light or does it feel a bit crusty in there? Does it feel a bit underused? Spiraling that light out and down through your throat. Moving that light in through the pockets of your throat, the back of your throat, and start to move it down into the heart, down into the rest of the body, and then just start to let that energy spiral and swirl, setting your intention and allowing this light to be programmed that you're ready to open up to more of who you are. Your multidimensional power is in the most grounded and authentic and highest rate for you. And then you might like to just ground that energy down out of your feet, letting that go into the central grid of Gaia, the crystalline grid. And when you're ready, opening your eyes.
Be amazing.
So that's how I would start. I wouldn't say I want to speak light language. I would learn how to channel energy first
Yeah.
and get very specific on how does your specific energy system vibrate. Because if you want to think about like a highlighter, right? You've got a yellow highlighter and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to draw a beautiful piece, or you've got like a paintbrush and a paint and you're like, I'm going to draw a beautiful thing on my canvas. If your paintbrush is dirty, which is your body, or your
Mhm.
energy systems aren't pure, the light that you channel isn't going to be very pure. So you're going to have to clear out your chakra bodies. And that's where listening to other light language or just channeling energy every day, it's actually so easy to run energy and do energy healing. I think it's more about doing it consistently.
Yeah. And our
Yeah.
resistance, because I'm sure we've had lifetimes, and especially galactic lifetimes, where we were afraid of our own power, for one, or where we were punished for our power, etc. So that might be a
People in the
big
Lightworkers activation course do so many, it's just fascinating. We do so many clearings and work together, and then people are like, is there more to clear? How are we still clearing from this and that? So you're right. There are so many experiences that we've had that you have no idea about that are affecting us vibrationally, but you
Mhm.
can clear it and you can release it.
Wow. So galactic wars, I mean, how much is that of that is very instrumental into our human condition, our human energy.
I think largely, like I've done readings with my human dad, my dad, and we both. I watched 9 different lives of ours play out where we left God and we were fighting with each other because I thought he was better than me, and then he thought I was better than me, and then we were samurai warriors, and then we went to Orion, and he killed me.
Oh,
And in this life, when I was 3 or 4, I took a glass ashtray. Remember those old school ashtrays of the
oh
70s
yeah,
and the
real
90s? Yeah.
heavy.
I took it and hit him on the head so hard that he almost passed out. And I realized
Wow.
that was me trying to repay, trying to like unconsciously, I was like, we're going to even this out. We have a very good
Wow.
relationship now. Like, I love my dad, but I think that we don't understand how deeply some of our personality traits are affected by our conditioning from other expressions. Because if you think about, they're showing me right now, like imagine you have a piece of sticky tape right now, and
Mhm.
every single life that you roll along, there's like a piece of blue tack, right? So you go along there and it's like you pick up this trauma, and if you don't put it back, you carry it with you, and then
Oh
you roll it
yeah.
along and you got this little trauma. If you didn't integrate it or understand it or move through the charge of that energy, you
Mm.
take it with you. So you come to this human life and you're this big roll of gunk,
Mess.
right? And we're walking
Oh,
around being like, this is who I am. And it's about
oh
unraveling
no.
and being like, oh, I'm still carrying this from that life. I'm still
Yeah.
carrying this. I'm still carrying this. But time is all now. Like it isn't
Yeah,
linear. So it's
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
it's also very empowering because when you're in a deep state of hypnosis and when you work with multidimensional energy, you can quantum shift and clear things like that. So
Wow.
I think that like one multidimensional session is like 10 therapy sessions because you get straight to the point, you get
Yeah.
straight to the charge, and you don't have to do it all yourself. You can say to your angels, you can say to the masters, you can say to the galactics, I'm ready to be done, and say
Yeah.
the word with full intention, and it will be done.
Sounds
You
easy.
might have to you might have to suffer the consequences of moving through the repressed emotions, like
Like what you had to
people
go through?
feel.
Or was that mostly just,
Yes, no,
yeah.
I had to go through that. It was
Oh,
so brutal.
wow.
And that's what the dark night of the soul is, recognizing all of the shadowistic parts of us that we didn't feel were worthy, and we repressed
Yeah.
them and denied them and judged them and shamed them. And then we put them in a little box inside ourselves and said, do not enter this realm. And that's
Um,
how we have physical pain. That's how I had
yeah.
endometriosis. That's how we have
Yeah.
this, because our physical body is trying to tell us something.
Yeah. And it'll try to get your attention with a feather, and then if that doesn't work, a ball peen hammer, and eventually it'll be a sledgehammer, like what happened to you, probably.
And then you have a car crash. Yeah, exactly. So I think at the end of the day, it's about how empowered can I be about my energy healing journey. And if you remain in the empowered state, and it's like you go and you're an explorer, you're an adventurer, adventure into your quantum field and think, okay, here are my limiting beliefs. Where did it come from? I don't want this
Yeah,
anymore. I'm ready to do it. And then the universe will help you at the same time. It's just a lot of people don't take that perspective. They live in victim mentality, or
I
well,
know.
it's not even their fault, like it is.
No, no.
It's hard. This planet's hard,
Very
hard, hard,
dense
hard, hard,
planet.
hard,
Oh my
hard.
gosh.
Yeah.
And most people think that it's only this life that's affecting their life. So that makes
Yeah.
it more difficult. So,
And same for your
um,
empowered self. Like on a positive level, a lot of reasons why my gifts are so strong right now is because I've reclaimed aspects of myself. Like I had a huge fascination with Egyptian culture when I was young. Every book I owned was about Egypt, and I would have memories of making a sound within the pyramid. I remember standing in the pyramid and I sung,
wow.
and a body was levitating in the middle of it, and all of these like sound waves were reverberating, and it was like healing that person's body as they were levitating. And then as I got more into realizing parts of my abilities, I was like, oh, okay, I can, because everything is now, tune into the empowered part of me from Lemuria, tune into my gifts from this, tune into my gifts from here, and I can in time space coordinates, reharmonize the charge of that energy to be now. And I don't have to learn anything, I'm just remembering.
Right. That's so cool. All right. So one question I wanted to ask, can anyone learn to work with energy? We already answered that. What does ascension really mean to you?
I guess it's like becoming more of who you truly are and recognizing the infinite God source nature of yourself through quantum vibrational shifts,
Mm.
shifting your thoughts, shifting your energy, shifting your sense of self, and recognizing in every moment that you have the ability to tune into so many pockets of reality that one day we will be walking around and always connected to our angels and our guides. It's just
Mm.
a frequency, interdimensional, vibrational shift into the truth of who we are. And it can feel daunting and it can feel hard because, as we said, you have to move through repressed pockets
Yeah.
of energy that you tried to escape. But I
Mm.
think at the end of the day,
It's worth
we're all
it.
walking each other home into who we truly are.
Mhm.
And it's just a game of life, right? This is the
Right.
development of the soul
That's
to
cool.
become closer to God.
Yeah. Um, what's the first step to it? What is the first step to unlocking energy gifts?
Probably like probably having an energy session for yourself
Oh,
and
okay.
letting someone do what you want to learn. I think the best way to learn is to find the best person that you can find, say do what you do to me, and then learn from them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I had some very profound energy sessions and I've had some very basic, not very good energy sessions. So I think if you really want to do something, find someone that's very good at what they do and feel the shifts and feel the effects. And then I think breaking it down into do some research, understand the vibrational nature of reality, get your
Yeah.
brain into the belief system of that. And then I think clearing what limits and restricts you, and a good healer will be able to tell you where your blocks are, consciously work on the block. So it's like learning and unlearning at the same time, and then every day stepping into the I am presence of I'm already a healer, I'm already good at
There we
this,
go. Yes.
I'm already right here, I can do anything. And yeah, and then it will come.
That's right.
And also hard work, like everything
Yeah.
is hard work.
Oh, yeah. But it's worthwhile. So, what's your favorite sound or frequency to work with? And tell us why.
Ooh. Well, for me, it's about like making the music. So I think for me, it's not necessarily about what one frequency can do, but for me, it's how you can create a multitude of layers of different sound frequencies. So, like when I make a piece of music, like one of my favorite tracks is the sound of the earth, and my
Mm.
partner will he took all of the spectral data of all of the periodic table of elements and he turned those through mathematical equations into the angstroms into sound waves, into hertz. So now there's like 80 different frequencies that make up oxygen or make up
Oh, my
neon or make up
gosh.
hydrogen or make up all of these elements. So we have all of the sound of the elements.
Mm.
So what I like to do is like layer them. So I've got the sound of the earth and I've layered the frequency of oxygen. Then I've taken the NASA space sounds of the recording of earth, put
Mm.
in a layer of that, and then I've put in crickets, but I've slowed them down so it slows down your heart rate.
Oh,
And then I've
wow.
added layers of crystal singing bowls where I've channeled like Mother Mary or different energies like that. And then I've made different piano and musical motifs that take you on a journey. So I think it's not for me the frequency, but it's the way that you organize and harmonize
Mhm.
energy, intention, ranges of frequencies and instrumentation to create like the hologram of sound that when you listen to, you truly go to another place that
Mm.
also reharmonizes you at the same time. So it's about all of the frequencies rather than just one specific frequency.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so where can we find out more? Encoded Frequencies with Katie, right? Is that
Yeah.
your website and a YouTube channel? You have both?
My website is encodedfrequencies.au,
Oh,
but I
dot
would say
AU,
just
yeah.
there's heaps of free stuff on my YouTube. So if you want to get into sound healing, there's lots of sound healing tracks. There's how to use tuning forks, there's light language. I'd say come along for a group live. Like they're pretty powerful. You set your intention and I just open up the group field and start to connect with different galactic beings and channel what they have to say and put codes to help you move through your own energy blocks. And then start
That's
to learn.
really
You can
cool.
train with me, you can do anything. And it doesn't have to be with me. Like, go and find people that inspire you and that you
Well,
resonate with because,
I feel
yeah,
comfortable with you. Maybe we should do a group live together too. Of course, we could
yeah,
also
let's do a group live.
plug
I'd love that.
yours also, the ones that you have. And I just have to
We
know.
can do a channeling Eric group live for sure.
That'd be so cool.
That'd be
All
so cool.
right. Anything else you want to say, Miss Katie?
Just that, like, no matter where you're at on your path, there's already a pre laid out plan for your ascension and your awakening.
Mm.
And it's about like recognizing, do I need to take more inspired action, or do I need to take my hands off the wheel and like let what is coming for you happen? Because at the end of the day, you're going to get there, and when you get there you realize that you were already there the whole time, so you can bypass
Wow.
time by recognizing that it's here, that it's now, and that you can bathe in the essence of fulfillment and wholeness now if you allow
That is
yourself.
so profound.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, Miss Katie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elisa.
And
It's
I'm
so
going to hook you
wonderful
up with
to connect.
Lucas. I wanted
Yeah.
to marry you off to him, but you're obviously taken. But anyway, okay.
I don't know how Eric would feel about that.
No, no. So, yeah, I'll hook you guys up so you can exchange the information, give him the information he needs to put you on the team. And guys, that is a tap on Atlanta Scalar at the top says the team, and boop, click it, and there are all of them amazing
All the
healing
mediums
light
are
workers.
so
And now
talented.
Katie too is coming up there. That'd be awesome. Check her out.
Cool.
And we'll put
Thank you,
all this
Elisa.
on the screen and in the description box below, guys. All right. Love you
And
all.
bye.
Hit the like button, people, and subscribe so you don't miss her again for the next time. You don't miss the
Bye.
live. All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.